record, and we're now recording. So welcome. This is the second, or was it? No, third session with Mr. Douglas here on our PowerShell for incident response and or blue teamers. If you're watching us on YouTube, welcome to our little deal here. Mick has got a lot of interesting stuff for you this week, so I'm going to let him go ahead and start that. Go ahead and take it away, Mick.
Okay, so got some real fun stuff to talk about. Hey, Mick Douglas, hit me up on Twitter at BetterSafetyNet. You can also check out my, I've got a page here for this class. If you register, you can get the course content. And I'm going to keep on keeping this thing going because, quite frankly, I'm having a lot of fun. And for those of you who have been asking questions outside the class, please keep them up. I plan on I'm having so much fun. I'm going to keep this class kind of rolling. We've got only 3 more sessions, but I'll probably be doing some bonus things from time to time. And we'll keep this PowerShell class link alive and kicking. So register. I won't spam you, pinky swear, and then we can keep the fun going. So a couple things today. Last session we talked a little bit about file integrity monitoring using the Git file hash, and there was a lot of interest, and people said that they wanted to take that on as a bit of a homework assignment. So to that end, I'm going to give you some tips to get things started, and then you can shoot me questions if you have any. And this will be enough to actually make for quite a challenging and fun project. And then I also want to highlight this thing, the built-in Windows Indexer service. I actually used this on an incident response about a half year ago. And once I found out how powerful it is, I started using it on every freaking pen test that I've been on. And it makes your post-exploitation really easy as a pen tester, but also as a blue teamer. Holy cow. It's amazing because all too often we get asked, hey, what sort of data was on this device? You know, did the bad guys have access to this material? And it's going to be eye-popping when you see how fast this goes. And then I also, if time allows, I want to get into PS tools from the sysinternals team. One little spoiler alert, the PS here in this instance does not refer to PowerShell. This tool predates PowerShell being kind of a thing. There were early versions of PowerShell, certainly when this came out, but PS tools is more about Unix and having full power over processes in very interesting ways. So one thing that I'm going to challenge the class, and maybe those of you who are watching at a different time, file integrity monitoring, or FIM. We're going to build a FIM solution, and you're going to do it. And it's not that hard. We've already got our hash getter thing. Remember our good old pal git file hash? Now, all you need to do is add in reading a config file or a directory listing that you want to pay attention to, and then you're going to have to write the results, and then you're going to have to compare them. We're going to do this read config file and write results today, and I'm going to do them with a fairly lazy approach, and then in later classes, next session specifically, I'll show you a little more powerful and more pragmatic way to handle this. The first thing, we've already covered git file hash, so not going to go into that. But we do need to have a way to read files. The easiest way is to use this git content commandlet. That's it. All it does is it pulls the contents of a file into a PowerShell object, and then you can iterate through that particular list. That's the easy way right here, easy. So let me mark this. Use this if you can. Sometimes you're not going to be able to, and you have to go to stream readers. Powerful, kind of scary. These are objects or .NET primitives, really, is what you're seeing here. We're importing the system.io stream reader. And the thing that's really cool about this is it's very powerful, very performant. If this isn't your first rodeo with PowerShell or programming, you probably will be very familiar with this and go ahead and use that. For some folks on the presentation, this is their first rodeo. So we're going to do a nice, gentle, easy intro rather than go full YOLO mode. Let's switch over and this is weird. I'm going to stop sharing for just a second and fix my share to the desktop, which should look the same now. Can everybody see my desktop? Thumbs up, yes. Okay, cool, thank you. What we're going to do is we're going to go over to my other desktop where I've got, this is a evil loop that's running. Spoiler alert for the end of the class today. What we're going to do though, oops, let's close that. We don't want the evil loop up. What I want to do is show you how you can go about making a fin. It's really quite simple. So let's do a very quick and easy one. What I'm going to do is CD into my tools directory. Now, you don't have to name it tools. You can name it something like workshop or even put it in your documents path. But the main key here is that you need to know where this is. So make
Hey, Mick, we kind of lost your audio there.
Yeah, I don't think you can hear us either.
Okay, I think he might have unplugged his. Yeah, that was me.
Still doesn't notice.
That's okay. He'll get it in a second. Oh, yeah. See, oh, he probably saw that. There he goes. Dog bless Slack, I'm telling you. See if we can get him back. There he goes.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, there he is. What happened?
Oh boy.
That's okay. You can just go through that exercise again real quick. Uh-oh. He blames the cat.
So you can hear us, but I can't hear you. Ah, jeez.
That's right. We love you anyway.
You know what? Just rather than fight this, I'm going to switch the audio over to, well, let's see if I can force this again. Okay, how about now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, and I can hear you now. So whenever I open up the
Okay,
test
cool.
audio settings, it works. So let me do this. I'm going to do a dirty hack and put this into... I'm going to leave this up and running and put that to desktop 3. So hopefully this will keep things rolling. Boy, that's bizarre. Interesting. Okay. So
Okay.
where was I when I cut off?
Just about the time you started with the exercise when you switched over to the VM. I think that might actually have something to do with it.
Okay, so let me know if when I swap over to the VM, if that steals my audio. And then if it does, and let me know via Slack. I was able to see that alert.
Right on.
If that is a problem, what I can do is try running the VM in a windowed mode. And then as a very fallback, God help us, we can do it in Unity.
Okay.
Yeah, that's horrible. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Still good.
Okay, cool. All right, so yay, we've beat the audio gremlins. Let me walk you through what I've been doing here with the audio when the audio is down. We have this get content command, which allows you, or rather commandlet, sorry for the PowerShell super crew. Get content allows you to actually pull the content of one object and put it into a variable. In this case, I've created a variable called dir to check, and I'm pulling this using this way. Now, like in Unix, you can use relative pathing, but I found it a lot easier to debug by putting the absolute path. Now, I have this dirs to check. I created this, so I know right host is dirty hack. But what we're going to do is we're going to look to make sure that this object works as expected, and then we're simply going to run it. And in this case, we see that the C's tool directory is pulled in. So that's great. We're good to go on that front. So, don't let anybody, get you down. A well-timed or well-placed print statement is a great debug tool. So now what we're going to do is this. We're going to create a for loop. And we're actually going to be doing it this way. We're going to do for each dir in dirs to check. And we start our script block with these curly brace. Pro tip from me to you, if you're using Notepad, which probably isn't the best editor, make sure you close off your curly brace as soon as you create it, because it can get hairy. I'm not going to get into the whole tab versus space holy war. I'm a tab guy. Deal with it. I'm sorry. What we're going to do now is for each dir in dirs to check, we are going to get child item.
Mick?
Yeah.
That won't work because you don't have a dirs to check variable. It's dir to check.
Oh, very great catch. Thank you so much. Dir to check. You know what? Let me make it this way, though. Dirs to check makes more sense to me. So thank you so much. That's awesome. Okay. So I think that's right. Let's see, I think that's about right. Let's see how this works. Variable name. Gotta do it this way for each dir. Okay, that should do a lot better. And now, file object. Am I running into a reserved thing here? Let's try that. No, I am running into an interesting name collision. So if I do, I just want to make sure that this works as expected from the command line. So that's working pretty good. Okay, child item path.
Variable on the right host. You've got the dash in there.
Hang tight, folks. Okay, can you hear me now? All righty, great. Thank you so much for your patience, everyone. Man, what a rough run we're having here. So let me slide back to my VM and explain what's going on here. So in this FIM list, we are now able to pull the different types of objects out of here. And so now, instead of like writing the object, by the way, one thing I want to point out, see how they're all run together on one line like this? PowerShell has a very weird, to me anyway, notation for making a new line. This is the new line character. So when I hit Control Save on that and I run this again, I think I need to concatenate my string here. Now that should work. Okay, why is that not working as expected? Oh. File object is all the children objects. So now what I need is a different, so we're going to do another loop here. Sorry about this. For each file in file object. Now let's take this and this will work. That looks pretty reasonable. Let's see how this goes. There we go. And I didn't need the plus because I was overly, actually we don't even need the new line because each object is separated now. So now you can see here we have our listing of our different commands or our different file objects. And this is basically the equivalent of me doing a dir on C tools, okay? But now what's magic is now that we've got this, we can actually do some interesting things here, like get file hash, and then I'm going to cheat here, get file hash. I'm not a good speller, so make use of the tab autocomplete, hey, and you can simply paste your algorithm and path. Actually, I don't think you need path, but you do need your algorithm. And so then what you have is, like, let's see if this works as expected. And then you could simply oops, it's not liking it. Why is it not liking it? Cannot find path. Defend to-dos. Ah, okay. So it's not liking the fact that we did not give the path its proper name. So what we're going to do is cheat here, and we're going to do target equals to dir, and then I think we need, let's just go this way to make it easy. So what I'm trying to do here is force this to make the full path to the object. And then what I'm going to do is change this to be path target, like so. Okay? So now, fingers crossed, we're going to get a nice, happy, fully qualified path. So now, if I go back to my PowerShell script right here, we can comment this out, comment that out, and now we should get a whole slew of MD5s that are different. Hey, now we got that. So now what you can do with this is you can use different algorithms. Remember, get file hash supports different algorithms. So what I would recommend that you do is I'm going to post this version up on the site to use, we can use as a starting template. If you're like realizing how janky this script is, feel free to go with something else, and you know, we can share and jam on this. But you want to do like MD5, you want to do maybe SHA-1, and then you want to write these to some sort of a store. So what you can do is write these to a file, and then you can use that at a later date to compare the files and see if they've been altered. I cannot stress enough how file integrity monitoring is huge, because my favorite use case for it is when checking for DLLs or device drivers. Those are the two that I'm seeing most often in a incident response scenario, that the bad guys are taking over those and using that to nefarious ends. Is there any questions or so? Oh yeah, so Dan, to everyone, it's actually this backtick n is the equivalent of /n that you may be used to. That's just a little weird quirk of PowerShell. This is the tab space. So yeah, that's just how they do that. One thing to be on the lookout for is if you ever see this in a command prompt or in the shell output that you're recording on a PowerShell, I want you to train yourself to be very, very scared. Because what they're doing here, this is a technique that is used to bypass a lot of log detection or PowerShell injection detectors, because uppercase N isn't anything. So if you have a command like invoke mimikatz, like that, and you're alerting for anybody that does invoke mimikatz, and that's like this like literal string is your regex that you're looking for. You're not seeing the screen. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Having all sorts of demo fails today, so thank you for the. Okay, what I wanted, there was a question about escape N, and I wanted to spend a moment talking about that. If you're used to Unix environments, that's how you make a new line. In PowerShell, the way you make a new line is backtick N. So on most keyboards in the US, it's the key that's directly to the left of the 1. This is a tab character. Okay. Now, what's interesting is if you see somebody doing a backtick capital N like that, you need to be very cautious, because what they may be doing is if you have someone like you're looking for mimikatz and you have a script or something and you're looking for this literal string, one way of bypassing that is to do the following. And the reason that this works is PowerShell is not case sensitive. So, write host PowerShell is not case sensitive. But it really isn't case sensitive at all, because you can do things like this. And it still parses this the same way. What's interesting is that if you use this N character and it's lowercase, you can get something like this going. See how it puts the new line there? But now, if I do this, it interprets that as an N. So this is one of the rare cases where PowerShell really is case sensitive. And it makes no sense to me, but this is a very powerful way of bypassing a lot of intrusion detection techniques. So be on the lookout for if you see backtick followed by a capital letter. All of the characters like new line, space, return, etc., are all going to be lowercase. So backtick plus lower equals good. Backtick plus upper equals OMG. So just a little pro tip. So thank you for that question, by the way, about the /n. So that was a neat little sidebar. So let's continue rolling along, and I want to talk a little bit about some other things that we can talk about with this homework assignment, okay? I want you to play around with this. I will post the very janky script that I wrote during our session, and you can improve on it. If you want to nuke it from orbit, I won't feel bad at all. I know this is janky. And I challenge you, if you think that you're not a good PowerShell coder, like, don't worry. You know, let her rip. You're probably going to do no worse than I just did. So one other thing that you, so we've made it so that you can have your list of directories that you want to monitor. And so just list those on that file one at a time. Now, for those of you who have been playing around with PowerShell for a little bit, you can get kind of crazy looking at things like the modified, accessed, and created times. You can grab the file size, the ownership of that file, maybe even the file's ACL, and the alternate data streams. By the way, I gotta say, alternate data streams were my favorite way to hide on a system. They're not anymore. I used to use alternate data streams to put, you know, like a working directory or maybe some of my working kit as a bad guy when I'm doing a pen test. But so check this out. Here's how easy it is to detect alternate data streams now in a PowerShell world. One of my favorite spots to look for alternate data streams is in the downloads directory. And the reason for that is quite simple. When you're in the downloads directory, like all browsers will actually attach an alternate data stream. So let me show you what I mean by that. CD downloads, and you'll see that I've got a bunch of files here. I can do git item, and whoops. Let's do it this way. What am I doing wrong here? Hold on just a second. Gotta refer to my cheat sheet. Git item. Why is that? Am I in the right directory? Ah, there we go. Okay, I was overthinking it. So if you do git item, it's the equivalent of the dir. In fact, they're actually an alias of one another. Now, what's interesting is in PowerShell, you can actually see all the streams, and star will actually show all the streams that are associated with every file. And if you've never worked with these sorts of things, they're kind of interesting. The way in this case, the way Windows knows that you've downloaded something from the internet is it attaches these alternate data streams, and we'll actually show you one. Notepad, yes, tools, zip, and then this zone.identifier. And, whoops, did I typo? Ah, yes. PS tools, zip, zone.ident. Why is that not working?
You mistyped identifier. It's not IN, it's ID.
Perfect. Thank you. So now you'll see, thank you so much. You'll see here that we've got this zone ID. This is how Windows, by default, all browsers will, if you're downloading a file from an untrusted zone, it will put these on there. And when Explorer launches, it will say, hey, you're about to execute a program or open a file from an untrusted zone. And this is how it knows to do that. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is looking for alternate data streams inside of a file integrity monitoring solution is a very cool and fun thing to do. I'll be honest, I haven't run into them too many times when I'm doing incident response work, but it's one of those things that makes for an interesting litmus test. When I see somebody that's doing these sorts of commands and making use of alternate data streams, they're usually a cut above. So this is something that's worth mentioning and worth pointing out. You should give it a rip and play with it. So any questions so far? Okay, well, I'm going to keep on rolling then. So this is a section that I can't say enough good things about. And the Windows indexing service is so freaking powerful. Basically, by default, every Windows machine is continually indexing all the files that it can on a system. And very often, as part of incident response, I'll have someone from management saying, hey, did this machine have files that contain sensitive info? And the truth of the matter is, I have no idea. So I want to point you to 3 different ways that you can play around with this. And I'm not going to lie, these are very, very long reads. They are well worth it. What this blog does is show you how to make queries against the search index where you can select by specific criteria, and you can be very exacting. You can ask for specific file types, files that have been tagged, files that have EXIF data, certain metadata, et cetera, or you can also find very specific files. Now, usually, as part of investigations, I tend to go toward the first approach because, quite frankly, it works and it's really powerful. But if this is your first journey in here, I would encourage you to take the easy path, the path of least resistance. And this is the final blog posting in a series on how to interact with the Windows Search Index. And it's this really cool commandlet, or not commandlet, it's a function called getIndexedItem. And so here's how this works in action, and it's dynamite. So let me close out all my PowerShell commands here so that we're starting from, actually I'm going to save that. We're going to have a little fun with that. Just close that. Yes. All right, so what we're at here, well, we still have this evil running, and that's fine. We can talk about that in a moment. What I'm going to do is, as a regular user, you do not need admin powers to do this, although you may need admin powers to do this on remote machines depending on how it's configured. So your mileage may vary, but I want to show you doing this with a regular user, non-elevated, first approved, no gimmicks. So what you do, first of all, we're going to cd into the tools directory. And we're going to, where did I put it? I put it in getIndexedItem. Oh, it's just by itself. So I'm going to import a module, getIndexedItem, and it's going to say I'm not allowed to. Why? Well, that's easily fixed by doing a bypass. And now I am able to import that module. And now all I need to do is something quite fantastic. I say getIndexedItem, and I'm going to say path C like so, recurse, and I'm going to do filter, and I'm going to look for the word password. So what this is going to do now is it's going to look against the index, not scan the hard drive. It's just going to look at the index. And if I did this correctly, and I hope I did, it's going to actually show everything that is on the C drive that has the word password in it that has been indexed. And ta-da, it did. So this is freaking powerful and really, really awesome stuff. Yeah, I heard some wows. Yeah, it is amazing. So next time management comes to you and says, hey, did so-and-so have access to such and such things? You say, give me the list of keywords and I'm off to the races. So, you know, Viper. Okay, there's Viper. Project Viper wasn't on here. Maybe Project Stingray was. And I don't expect this to work, but yeah. So, you know, these are just things that I was pulling for instance. So use this, please use this. This is an incredibly powerful technique and one that not enough people know about, in my opinion. So take advantage of this. So any questions about that particular ninja like move that I learned through the hard way, School of Hard Knocks? No? Okay. Okay, well, then I'll just move along here. So learn the tool. Here's how you work it. You can get, well, let me actually show you how powerful this is, because we're doing okay-ish on time. Chat. Just wow. Okay, so glad you guys are digging this. Let me show you, though, this, I'm going to warn you. You are in for a bit of a rough ride if you really want to take this tool to the full extent, because it actually supports SQL type querying. So you can do all kinds of bonkers, crazy type stuff. So, yeah, I mean, like, here's how wild this ride goes. So do yourself a favor, allocate, like, honestly, I would say about a week to really sit down and play with this, use this, and have a lot of fun. As you can see, it is crazy fast because you're not actually searching the hard drive. You're going against the indexed database. So it's super fast and it's very comprehensive. So yeah, I really, really dig this. Can't say enough good things about it. So let's slide back to our regularly scheduled PowerPoint deck. So, okay, are all directories indexed by default? No, not all. And the index results that you're going to get will differ based off of the user that you're going to be doing this as. So if you are a sysadmin level access, you are like system level access, you're going to see more than the user. Let me slide back over to my VM. You'll see that the results that I received were all only in this IE user group because that's who I am. So, so if I make an administrative one, I should get different results. Now, of course, I'm going to have to re-import the that get indexed item, because if I try to use this, it doesn't exist until I import it. So, and so import module. And so now, if I do the same query as before, I'm hoping to get different results, but I didn't try. So here's to demo gods being kind. Oh, did I really check that? Okay, let's just type it away. Oh, and we only get this user. In the real world, you will see different results based off of the different users. So this is kind of a get bad example, but so when you're an admin, you should see more. At least you should. Let me know how it works for you. All right, so let's roll along. All right, so PS tools. This is not something that works directly with PowerShell. It's the Unix PS command. And so I've been kind of teasing this thing where I have this evil script running. And so PS tools can be of great help. So if you've got this runaway evil process on your system, you can do a couple different things. You can either kill off the command, or you could do something that's a little creative here in this PS pause. Right here, or I'm sorry, PS suspend. Basically what this does is it pauses a running executable. And the very first time you run it, you're going to see this. So just hit agree. There is a command line option that prevents the prompt. But basically, all you need to do is find out the running process of your evil application that you want to stop, and you can kill that off. Now, what's interesting is we've got this running process that we know is bad, and we need to take action on it. But we think it's bad. We don't necessarily know that it's truly evil. So what you can do is find out what command or process ID this particular system is, or this particular process is running at. And there's a couple ways that you can do this. You know, some of you might be familiar with, you know, task list, you know, and see the different tasks. And you might even do something like find string I PowerShell, like that, and it gives you a bunch of different PowerShell consoles. That's kind of cool. What's interesting, though, is I don't think, see, this isn't going to help you here. So what you need to do is get a little creative with git process. And that gives you a few more options. The other thing that you can do is make use of git WMI objects. And git WMI object is something that we're actually going to spend at least a half session before we're done. Those who have got a chance to know me over the years know that I am totally nuts about WMI. I love it. I've been doing a lot of research on it since way back in the day with XP. So what's cool is I want to show you this. Oops, where's my cheat sheet? Maybe it's on the VM. Or maybe I deleted it. Oh boy. Wait, I saw it. Where did it go? Okay. Here it is. So now, if I'm doing this right, I should be able to pull. Yeah, boy, demo fails. Okay, so I'm getting the command line of PowerShell. Why am I not getting my evil invocation? Let's cheat here. then what we're going to do is a PowerShell bypass. And also execute evil at the same time. All right, so it's doing that, and I should be able to get. Why am I not getting? Boy, this has been a demo fraught day here. And of course, my tabs aren't, my pastes aren't working. Son of them. We'll do it old school. And then I think it's just a simple select object. Perfect. I don't understand why this isn't showing. But that does. Oh, geez. Okay. All right. Okay, now we got it going. Now, remember our good friend, what are the 3 different commands that we can use to learn about PowerShell? It's git help, git command, and git member. So what we're going to do is run git member on this and see what the different objects that it returns. And I did the wrong things. This is a script block, so you got to put it this way. Let's try it this way. We're doing it live. There we are. Okay, so these are the different objects that it will accept. So I can do select name, command line, and most importantly for me is I need the process ID. So process ID, like so. And so now I see that my evil is running in this particular one. So now what I can do is ps suspend. And just to show that I'm not doing any tricks, let me close out of this extraneous one here. My loop is running. Every second it's updating. And what I'm going to do is pause 70, 80. And now it is no longer running. So this is an incredibly powerful technique that I've used in production environments. If you have something bad running across your network and you think it's bad, but you're not totally sure, do yourself a favor and look into using ps suspend rather than just killing the process outright, because you don't want to stop like an important production run. Now to unsuspend them, so there's simply look at your ps suspend without any arguments, and there's this -R. So you do -R, 70, 80, and in a moment, Oh, geez. Oh, geez. That should have resumed, but it's not, because why not? There's been so many demo fails already today. It worked earlier. Ah, geez. Well, it works normally, so you'll have to test it. So I don't know why this isn't working. Oh, because I suspended it twice. That's odd. So it's resumed, and now it's up and working again. Whew, demo vindication, sort of. So that's kind of what I had for you today, was some homework on the file integrity monitoring tool, and I'll get that up here shortly. Wanted to introduce you to the Windows indexing service and how to use that for fun and profit, and then also how to safely, or at least sort of safely, suspend processes. So don't double suspend the process. That causes issues. So at this point, that's kind of all I had prepared for today. What I will do is I'll slide over and take some stuff. Yeah, it is weird that you can suspend twice, but who knows? I'm not one to complain that we were able to get it running, though. So be careful when you fire the pause gun.
Hey, Mick,
So, any questions? Yeah.
Mick, what was the URL of your website? A couple of people have asked for it there.
Yep, coming right up. Here it is, infosecinnovations.com, BDS, or Breaking Down Security, PowerShell-class. And it will have you log in, and I will approve you. There was a problem initially getting folks initially approved, but I've got that streamlined, and that should be a lot better. So if you got any questions or have any issues with that, let me know.
Awesome. Okay. Anyone have any questions or thoughts or concerns?
Yep, there was a question, can I post that in the chat? Hell yeah, I can. In the chat, and it's also going into the Slack.
Cool. Somebody's unhappy with your web admin skills, Mick. Apparently you can only put a maximum of 15 characters.
Oh, that's not my pick. That is Wix, my platform. This is not for super secret, scary stuff. If you want that, I've got a cloud provider that's based out of Switzerland. But these slides aren't that super sensitive.
There you go. All right, there you go, Mike P. All right. Any other thoughts or questions?
Well, thanks for hanging in with me on all these technical issues this time. We'll get them ironed out probably by class 6.
Yeah, no, that's okay. My wireless actually was wonky here tonight. I lost connection twice, so thankfully it still records even though my connection got interrupted. So, so that was it for the third session. If you have any thoughts, comments, or suggestions, please hit up Mick Douglas at Better Safety Net on Twitter, or you can hit up BreakSec, Breaking Down Security Podcast at BreakSec on Twitter, or you can hit me up at Brian Break, or you can just go into our Slack channel, go to the PowerShell_class channel, and ask your questions in there. So. Yeah, that's it. Everyone have a great week, and we'll see you next week for session 4.